Hey guys, it's Mark from migraineprofessional.com, and so today I'm going to be talking about how genetics influence migraines. And do genetics make migraines? Are we kind of doomed to live our lives with migraines or chronic migraines because of the genes we have? And so in this video I'm going to be talking about the three big contributors to migraines. And so what we want to understand is that genetics are a huge player. I mean, they get passed down from our mother and our grandmother, and not only do the genes come with her, but our mitochondria, which are they're basically organs of the cell. Our mitochondria have their own genes, and they get passed down through the mother too, a little bit from the father, but mostly from the mother. And so this also influences us because our mitochondria, they're the powerhouse of the cell. And so our mitochondria create the energy for every single cell in our brains. And so if these mitochondria, if we've had sort of dysfunctional mitochondria, let's say our parents lived a very poor life, they were in famines and in very scarce situations, then they'll pass down mitochondria that acts very scarcely, that's not well fed, that's not well replicated, and this will affect how we function. So what we want to understand is that genes do play a role, and there is a link between genes and migraines, but it's not necessarily a causative link. These genes don't cause migraines in everyone. So it's important to understand that even though they might predispose us, they might make us more susceptible, it doesn't actually end up with migraines. So then we have the sort of genes are just, they're a small piece, they're like a blueprint. But what we actually have that controls how the genes function and what actually acts the blueprint out is our epigenetics. And so epigenetics, they're epigenetic, they're above genetics, because they influence and control how genes function, how they act, because genes really, they just kind of, if we think about it, they code for the proteins, but the epigenetics actually make those proteins do things, perform functions. And so our epigenetics, they're created sort of in the womb and in the first years of life. So they kind of set the foundation of how we experience everything. And if we kind of think of adverse childhood experiences, like a child that has been through abuse will be very different than a child who has not. So not only will they act differently, but their body will respond differently. And so this is the epigenetics, changing how our genes function. So what we want to understand is that not only can we sort of influence our genes through our epigenetics, but then our third factor influences both of those. And so the third factor is the exposome. And so the exposome, it's basically, an exposome is the sum total of all exposures from birth until where you are today. Everything. From everything that you inhale, drink, eat, everything that goes on your skin, everything that you think, that you see, all the emotions that you feel, everything that comes into your body that you don't process, whether that be mental, emotional, or physical, all those things are our exposome. Even the sort of the byproducts of the bacteria that live in our gut, even those are part of the exposome. So it's everything. What we want to understand is that the exposome is the most important part that either contributes to our health or contributes to our disease. So this is, it's really empowering because it gives us a way to actually understand how we can change our body's response. It won't necessarily be that we'll have migraines forever, that we'll have the same sensitivities forever, that will be the way we are forever. And like clinical practice and studies have shown, it's not the case at all. I mean, we can completely deal with migraines in a number of different ways, but a cure for everything is still not there yet. So we're kind of figuring that out slow and steady as we kind of go along with it. But what we want to understand is that the exposome is incredibly important, and there's three pieces to the exposome that we want to understand. So the exposome is everything that we take in, everything that we put out, and everything that we process or don't process. So everything that comes in, that's all of the light and the liquids and the gases and the solids, everything that comes into our body. So all of our nutrition, incredibly important. Liquids are incredibly important. We want to make sure they're mineralized. We want to make sure that they're not adding fluoride and chlorine and other adverse toxins to our body. The air that we breathe, we want to make sure that we're breathing clean air, because we breathe more than we do anything else. So that's the biggest exposure if we're living next to, let's say, a road that has diesel trucks on it. Statistics will show that we actually have a greater sort of all-cause mortality, which is really bad. We got to be careful. And then everything like our electromagnetic exposure, our Wi-Fi, our phones, our smart meters, those all influence us. So we want to make sure that we everything that we take in is as clean as it can be. I mean, we live in the 21st century. Not everything is going to be crystal clean. Not everything is going to be organic and wild. But we need to get it as clean as we can. And so then we have everything that goes out. So our body has 5 systems of detoxification. So it's our skin, our poop, our pee, our sort of intestines, our kidneys, our liver, and then our breathing. And so these are absolutely crucial in making sure that we get everything out. Not only that, we want to make sure that our systems of detoxification are sort of processing things and getting them out, but we also want to make sure that everywhere that we sort of expend our energy, whether that be mental energy, whether that be emotional energy, or whether that be physical energy. I mean, if we are working out more than our body can handle, we're breaking tissues down more than they can repair, and that's causing a load and a stress on the body. If we are obsessing over things that are completely outside of our control, then we are sort of giving away the energy that can be used to kind of process the emotions that are going on inside. And then we have our processing. So our processing includes our organs of detoxification, and it includes our sort of our mental and emotional systems of detoxification. So we want to make sure that we've dealt with any trauma that we have. We've dealt with any emotional tensions that we hold on to, and that we've dealt with sort of thoughts that go unanswered, that kind of live inside of us and keep repeating themselves day in and day out because they haven't really been dealt with. And so these are all incredibly important to dealing with migraines. It is not just the genetic sort of set in stone, we are stuck with this for the rest of our lives. We can make big changes, and many migraineurs know that you can make tiny changes and get big results. So it's really important that you focus on the genetics, the epigenetics, and the exposome as one whole piece. So let me know, subscribe, and let me know in the comments below, how did I do?